Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are a newbie here, I am Janine, a communication scientist, and on this channel we break down societal dynamics, public figures, and controversial issues through a communication science lens, of course. So thank you so much for joining me. Now today we are talking about Shera Seven. I just found out that her husband James had passed away, and I am actually just so upset about that. Apparently, he passed away in January already, but this information has only recently become public. Now, as a disclaimer, I just want to say that this isn't your typical video or story about a YouTuber losing a spouse. It's actually a video that highlights something much deeper, and that is how public figures, especially those with very strong, controversial personal brands, are not really allowed to grieve or to show vulnerability publicly. So there does exist this tension between us as the public not making this public platform conducive for grieving. And then, of course, public figures feeling that tension and feeling as though they cannot fully show the vulnerability to the world. But first, let's now briefly get into who exactly Shera Seven is. So, Shira is an American content creator, author, and relationship advice influencer. And she's best known for her teachings on the sprinkle culture. So, she rose to popularity on YouTube because she offers advice primarily aimed at the woman about financial security in relationships and choosing a lifestyle that's all about leveling up. So, her content mainly focuses on encouraging women to prioritize financial stability in partners and to avoid the struggle love at all costs. And of course, like every influencer, she is both admired and criticized. So her supporters sees her as this person who empowers women to avoid financial struggle. And her critics, on the other hand, argues that her advice promotes very transactional types of relationships where there is this huge focus on materialism. And I can completely understand why she has critiques. I can completely understand why her advice may trigger people, both women and men. So let's take women, for example. Women who may be accepting less than what Shira advocates for within relationships may really feel triggered by her advice. And men, on the other hand, who cannot live up to Shira's standards of what a good man should be, definitely also feels that sort of trigger within them. So I definitely see where the controversy comes in. I definitely see why she is both loved and hated within the public space. I think that her advice is great. I love the whole sprinkle vibe. She's an awesome person. She's gorgeous. I love her. And I love the fact that she is very unapologetic in her stance. And yes, we can agree with people. We don't have to. If we don't like something, we can always just keep on scrolling. So I'm not actually going to get into her actual content. That's not what we are going to do today. I was actually compelled to do this video after watching her live. So she did a live stream basically speaking about her husband's death and so forth. And I was listening to what she said, and I was also looking at her body language. And I couldn't help but just analyze both what was said and her body language within a communication science lens. And what I discovered is that What I saw in the video really points to what her specific grief reveals about public life in general. I just want to make a little disclaimer. Firstly, I did not include Shira's live clip within this video, so you can actually check her live out on YouTube. Also, I'm not going to be discussing what you see on the thumbnail. I feel like a lot of people are looking at that and analyzing that. I'm actually going to be analyzing the other things that were said. So let's get right into, Shira's live and what exactly stood out for me. So in her live, Shira shared that her daughters are healing and doing really well surrounding the death of their father. And they are healing because she didn't make her husband James's death public. She actually allowed people to comment, speculate, and troll without intervening. And when she specifically said that people were making mean comments about her, I felt so upset for her part because it's like I just knew that the trolling, the mean things, the whatever was going to be inevitable simply because of what Shira stands for. And ironically, we don't even need to analyze the trolling in detail. We know how people habitually act. We know that people will often gloat and make petty comments like, "Oh, Shira, you preached about the soft life and having a husband that never allowed you to pay the bills. Well, he's gone now. What now? Oh, your amazing husband has passed on. What now?" So, of course, these very petty, hurtful comments will, of course, surface. It is so inevitable. And what I also noticed was Shira's body language and her emotional demeanor within this live. What I noticed was guarded strength, not strength that is purely authentic. It is performative strength. It's the type of strength that is required to appear strong when there's absolutely, unfortunately, no room for vulnerability. And from personal experience, I'm sure that we can all relate to this. I'm sure that we've all experienced moments where we just wanted to cry, have a complete breakdown, show some tears. But we could not do that because we knew that the context or the people involved will not allow us to be vulnerable, will not allow us to just be authentic in that moment. And this is exactly what is happening in Shira's case. Because of who she is, because of her brand, she realizes that this context, this public context that she finds herself in, is not very conducive for her to be vulnerable. And that is why it is so important to understand that just because someone teaches about relationships or about financial strategy does not mean that they are immune to life's realities, including death. You can choose the best man, and that man will still face tragedy. Yes, Shira chose an amazing husband. She and James were married for 20 years, and she speaks so fondly about him, being a provider, always paying her bills, being there for her. And yes, this same man has now passed on, and people are literally gloating and being petty. So we definitely see this tension between life as it unfolds in its complete ebb and flow versus this public narrative. And Shira's situation actually illustrates a critical point that normal life and content creation do not always align. And the worst thing the public can do is withhold empathy regarding a public figure's personal life just because that public figure is being judged, through the lens of the public brand. And this is, of course, nothing new. We saw Kim Kardashian being a victim of much the same situation, just in a different context. So I don't know if you guys remember, Kim Kardashian experienced that whole Paris robbery incident. And shortly after that, she went on the Ellen DeGeneres show. And in that interview, she told Ellen that, hey, after that whole robbery incident, she doesn't care about material things any longer. She actually realizes just how important family is, and coming so close to death, thinking that she would not make it alive or make it out alive, really made her realize that, hey, all those material things, all that jewelry that got stolen was not, in the grand scheme of things, really important. So that's what she said on the Ellen DeGeneres show. And then more recently, when she went to India, she innocently just showed the public a video of her amazing, expensive, gorgeous jewelry. And of course, the public came at her. They were like, oh, look at you showing off your jewelry. Remember back then when you were on the Ellen DeGeneres show and you said material things don't matter? Remember that? And yeah, the public can be so salty, so brutal, and always, throwing the past back into your face in the worst ways possible. And what we need to realize is that public behavior is never going to reflect private reality. And we as the public should never construct narratives around people solely based on what they post online. And what we need to understand is that public figures can have very strong brands, very controversial brands. But we need to remember that they are first and foremost human beings, whereby vulnerability, grief, and imperfection totally exists behind the camera, even if unfortunately the brand and the context doesn't allow them to show that aspect of themselves. And this is where we, as the public, actually need to assess our own behavior. We, as the fans, the supporters, or just the people watching the lives of public figures play out, we completely and totally need to assess our behavior in relation to these public figures. So often we forget that we share these public platforms with celebrities, whereby if we say something good about them or bad about them, they may see it or they may not. Sometimes what people say can really damage a celebrity's sense of self. So, yes, even us, even you, as the normal person, we have this huge responsibility toward them. And this is our reminder to always show kindness and compassion. A lot of the times we place these celebrities on pedestals and we think that they are above grief, that they don't experience grief. And we have the tendency to withhold affection or withhold empathy simply because of who they are. But here's the thing, can we remember to always remember that they are human beings first? And let us show empathy because we realize that what they are experiencing in their everyday lives is no different to what the rest of us are experiencing. Just like we lose loved ones, so too do they lose loved ones. Unfortunately, they just experience these ebbs and flows of life on a much more larger, scrutinized scale. But regardless of that, we still need to interact in loving and empathic ways toward them because at the end of the day, we are all human beings first. So even though Shira may never come across this video or even make it this far in the video, I still want to publicly say that I am sending her all my love. And I hope that she and her daughters will navigate this very difficult time with lots of strength. And I am hoping that they receive and are receiving all of the best support that they can within their moments of bereavement. So I'm going to leave this video right here for now. Thank you guys so much. If you have made it this far, thank you. If you enjoyed this deep dive and you just love deep conversations like this, I would so appreciate your support. So please do subscribe, comment, like, and share this video with whoever you think might need to see it. Okay? Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you in the next video. So much love. Ciao.